Greetings, everyone. My name is Seru Chuma, and welcome to this week's episode of the FIZ Show. Joining me today is the CEO of Wuchi Wami, Harry Malichi. Harry, how are you doing?
Doing all right. Thank you so much.
Glad to have you here.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here today.
Thank you. Wuchi Wami is one of Zambia's fastest growing brands. Are you able to tell us about how it all started?
Thank you so much. I must also mention that it's a privilege to be on this platform, which Wami started in 2018, where after getting done with my time at the University of Zambia, and also after going through a lot of poverty in my upbringing, I decided then to go back to Winilonga to then begin to set up a model that then will be an agent of change. Yes, so in 2018, we formed Wuchi Wami to be able to train farmers in Mwinilunga so that then they can substitute the traditional beekeeping model for the sustainable one. We realized that, yes, traditional beekeeping has been there for many years, but then there's been a lot of inequality between man and woman, and also the aspect of deforestation, because when you come from Mwinilunga, you think you have a lot of land and a lot of miombo forests. But then when I looked at the data on deforestation, it was alarming. And for me, I think being from Winilunga, like as well, I decided to bring in a model that can, number one, then be able to bring a balance between a man and a woman. That means that we needed to give them a model that is able to be practiced by both a female and a male, and then as well reduce deforestation. So that's why we came up with Kwasha Indemi, which means help a farmer, because then we believe that if you can also help a farmer, they are able to then take their kids to school, meaning that I was simply doing or bring a solution to already the challenges that I had faced on growing up. So in 2018, we decided to form Wuchi Wami as well, to then partner with Kwasha Indemi, where Wuchi Wami now adds value to the products that are then being produced by the Kwasha Indian Cooperative. And from then, it's been a beautiful journey. You know, it's business, but then we've been focused to ensuring that what we began, the foundations that we had believed in the first day, are still the one driving us today, yes.
And also many entrepreneurs when they're starting, but that's a brilliant story. Yeah. But the common challenge most entrepreneurs actually cite is access to capital. Yeah. So are you able to tell us about your experience with regards to accessing capital, and what did you learn along the way and what worked for you?
I would dwell much on this because I think there's a lot of misinformation about access to capital. You realize that there's a lot of funding that is going on and that's available in the country and within the country as well. But then the question is that why is it that not many entrepreneurs or businesses have access to these funds? I think I'll give you an example of ourselves as Wuchi Wami. Before COVID-19, we were running a business like a Kantemba business, without structure, without processes and systems. And therefore, it was also even difficult for a bank to give you a facility, or for any other like financial funder on the market to be able to like come to your door. But then post COVID-19, because I remember in COVID-19 time, the whole year we were in capacity building. I remember in that year we went through a program with Bongo Hive called Thrive Investor Readiness Program. When I was done with that program with my team, I realized that indeed it was an issue of the business itself and its founders, and not really like about the market out there. So post-COVID-19, we began to restructure, putting in place our governance issues. We had to put in place a board. We had to put in place a financial system. Our books now could be audited. And from there, even when we went to a funder, it was very easy to get them to listen to you, because then they come and see that the risk aspect has been reduced. Because why is it that somebody will not give you the money? It's because of aspect of risk. And also today we have many people giving money at 30%, but a bank will give you that money at 30% for the whole annum. But we have today businesses getting that money 30% per month. that is unsustainable debt. So why is it? Because there's too much risk in a business for you then to not be able to get into a bank and get a facility. So all those are things that we've learned, that when you structure a business, when you put in processes, it will then be able to take you into a different league of financing. And I'll mention here about Prospero. Prospero in 2021, they gave us a relief grant. And through that also, when they saw our commitment to be able to use that grant as per the budget, because then there's a lot of people who get grants and then they go and buy other things. But for us, when we got that grant, we used it as per the budget. And then they were like, okay, these guys are committed. Can we then unlock more financing for them? In end of 2021, December, we got our first concessional debt from them, which was at 10% per annum. So that is a concessional rate, because mostly you go to 30 and whatnot, where the commercial banks are giving you like a flat rate. But Prospero through ZICB Bank gave us that, and from there I got to realize that funding is available. But then most entrepreneurs want to point fingers out there without really knowing what are systems in their companies, how are they running their business, for them to then be able to even have an attention from an investor. Yes, so it begins with an in-house thing. Build your culture on processes and systems, and then anybody out there will be able to then give you that room for you to pitch to them, and later on give you the money that you want. Yes.
Oh, and earlier you mentioned about deforestation.
Yes.
And how you saw it in real time in your area.
Yes.
As Financial Insight Zambia, we had the opportunity to be at the COP28 summit.
Beautiful.
I'm sure you're very aware of it.
Yeah, I saw you.
Yeah. And one of the key discussions there was about encouraging green enterprise, that there is a green business opportunity.
Yes.
How important is it for Zambians as well as Africans to actually understand this opportunity and execute it, especially that we are most affected by climate change?
Yeah, I think it's high time now that I think the local market and as well the policymakers also begin to realize that, yes, in this modern day, we need to ensure that our businesses are eco-inclusive. That means that they should be impact-driven, and the key one also is the environmental impact. Because as I mentioned earlier, we saw the issues on deforestation. I will tell you that the issues of people in Mwinilunga one day catch up with the issues of people in Lusaka, in California. You know, we're in a global society, and therefore we have to then come together to look at the issues that are affecting the world and begin to solve them in our small spaces. For example, the issue of drought and the issues of climate change, it can be connected to deforestation, because you remember that when you cut too many trees, you are depleting the oxygen in the system, and therefore giving out too much of carbon dioxide. And therefore, that's why you have these projects called carbon markets. It's just because now everybody is beginning to realize that you can actually conserve nature and you can live in a better place. So when you come to the green entrepreneurship, it's high time that even policies are also developed to support businesses like Wuchi Wami, who are investing in to substitute an unsustainable way of beekeeping, to give a farmer a beehive so that then a farmer can conserve nature, because we cannot live without nature. And therefore, nature is what is giving us the water that we need to use to plant our maize. And therefore, why not focus on that? So I was in Madrid last week. I was speaking. The government of Spain invited me from the African continent to be able to then inspire their youths in the green entrepreneurship space. And what I keep on mentioning is, yes, it's a space that we need to then be creative and innovative about, because it sustains and it will elongate our lifespan on Earth. Because, I mean, when you look at Mwinilunga, you will say, oh, they have a lot of trees. But if you continue cutting down trees, even the same beekeeping that we're talking about, we would not really scale it up because you're cutting the very trees that should give you the nectar to then be able to make the honey. So everything is an ecosystem. So we have to be able to then together work and solve these challenges. And Wuchi Wami alone cannot do it. We have to partner together. Financial Insight bringing Wuchi Wami on this platform so that then we can scale up the publicity about green entrepreneurship, stakeholders in government coming on board to realize this is a challenge. We can't just be calling it when it happens. No, let's plan for it and begin to action it, yes.
Okay, and are you able to tell us what exactly is your value proposition as Wuchi Wami, as a product?
So for us, in 2018, we realized that there was a lot of, number one, the same deforestation that we're talking about, and also there was a lot of honey which was not organic. For us, we decided to invest in the value chain to be able to produce the best organic honey so that when you taste it, you will not go back to any other brand. And I'll mention to you that from 2018, we never had a marketing budget. And even when you look at our social media footprint, it's only in 2023 when we're beginning now to scale up our publicity. But we've been exporting to 5 countries. We've grown our local market share by almost 600%. What we believe in, or rather our value prop, is to build a brand, to build a product that then when you interact with it, you will not go back to another one. Because we believe that even the grade A honey should not only be for export, it should be for every citizen, for every end user. And that's what we believe in, yes.
Oh, that's very, very interesting. You've mentioned that you're already exporting to 5 countries, and in recent times we've seen the announcement of the Africa Free Continental Trade Area.
Yes.
What is the opportunity for business growth from that particular announcement, and what opportunity have you identified as Wuchi Wami?
Of course, business is tied to numbers. Your serviceable market is what makes you then even scale up your portfolio. When we look at the Africa Free Continental Trade, it also means that now there is a wider serviceable market. So, and therefore you realize that for you to then be able to increase your quantum of revenue, if you don't have a lot of end users, you will always be functioning in the local leagues. So for us to have that, and as a business and as a team from Wuchi Wami, we've been there to position ourselves to grow capacity within our team, because yes, there is export. Yes, the markets have been opened, but it's not just about opening markets. There is need to develop capacity within the team, build a value chain that is then able to anchor that growth. Because, for example, if you've been given maybe, let me say, 2,000 metric tons to produce, did you build capacity to then be able to meet that demand? What this means is that a market has been opened up, but did you build capacity to then be able to service that market? And therefore, you start by going inside your company and into businesses, and let's build resilience, capacity, so that even when we go into Mauritius, when we go into Botswana, we will not have a different sentiment from the end users there that Zambian honey is bad or Zambian products are bad. We should build products that then should be able to compete on the continent, on the globe, because then we understand from get-go that this product is not only for Zambia, but for the many markets. And I'm excited because we've been wanting to expand, and now we have this. We only hope that policies also, because on the strategy side, you can have this trade opened up, but then our companies really like putting in measures to ensure that they can integrate other countries and their products to get into their countries. Yes, so we're excited, and we know that there's still so much to be done for it to be a functional and something that can then scale up our markets. But I think the first step is good that it's been opened up. So now let's look at the forward future now so that we can participate in it as well.
Okay, and what has been your experience with regulations?
Yes.
And also, a follow-up to that is, what do you see can be done much better to encourage free enterprise?
Regulation is something that is very key. For me, my belief is that an enterprise needs an ecosystem that has good policies and regulations, and also access to all these fundings. But then when we come to regulation, I will speak as Wuchi Wami. We're producing our honey in North Western Province. Before a bucket leaves Munyilunga, you have to pay council fees. From paying council fees, you also have to pay forestry fees, and those are huge fees. From there, you come to pay your taxes. So how can an SME then be able to scale up if they are paying all these fees to a government? Because I pay tax. My business pays tax. But then when there are also these non-taxable fees, they making business very difficult to do in Zambia. And our main goal is to ensure that Zambia is able to export, because the issues of forex and the issues of the economy, it entails that we need to export more. But then has the playground been made leveled so that then every SME, every youth is able to enjoy entrepreneurship? I don't think we're not yet there. We are not yet there, yes. So there's still much more that has to be done to remove these barriers so that then any SME, be it in the honey value chain, be it in the cosmetics, in any industry, they are able then to get that support, because that's why we want government to focus on these little things, so that then every entrepreneur has access to a free market, produce their goods well, and then they can export, bringing, like in the country, a lot of forex here. So, yeah, it's something that we have to speak about until a government does so. We'll continue to speak about it, yes.
Okay, and also finding the right investor.
Yes.
Finding the right capital, if you will.
Yes.
Can be also a challenge. Do you have any criteria that you use to identify which investor is the right one for you?
Yeah.
And are able to walk us through if you have any kind of framework that you use when employing to identify who's the best investor?
Fantastic. I think I'll mention one thing that I heard from Strive Masiwa. He said on every table, especially of a business deal, there's always a fool. You know, most people, when they want funding, they are in a rush. A funder will do due diligence on the company. But in many cases, entrepreneurs don't want to take time to understand who is this investor. Are they just giving me finance, or it's better finance? I will give an example of Prospero, because Wuchi Wami has been going through a turbulence in some time now. But because we partnered with Prospero, Prospero was able to give us the support to then be able to transition from just being an SME into a medium enterprise, because they understood that to build a business, you need to have patience. To build a business, you need to then give an entrepreneur better financing. I was talking about, the interest rates on the market. An entrepreneur has to be able to do due diligence. When a term sheet comes, are these rates going to feed into my cash flow very well, and then be able to sustain this partnership? Because then if you don't do that, at the end of the day, the investor will get your company, and then you will now blame an investor. But it's not an investor, it's you. Did you do due diligence on this investor? Look at their terms. Do they work with you? Because for me, as an impact-driven entrepreneur, I'm not looking for just any investor. I'm looking for an investor with the impact kind of like measure into their term sheet. Are they looking to save trees? Are they looking to improve livelihoods? Those are the ones that I associate myself with. So let's not rush at getting money. Let us do due diligence to see if this is the right fit. Is it good financing, or is better financing? Let's go for better financing, because that's what then unlocks the economy through better financing, yes.
Okay, very interesting that you mentioned that Prospero was the right partner for challenging times.
Yeah.
Currently, we are experiencing a drought, which was actually declared a national emergency.
Yes.
Firstly, maybe you can speak about how that affects your business,
Yes.
but also about how the right investor and having
Yes.
the right people
Yes.
helps you weather such storms.
I believe in having a strong team. And also, when you look at the issue of drought, we are selling the honey to an end user. An end user needs to have revenue to be able to then afford honey, because this is a product that can only be consumed with by somebody who has a lot to do with an organic lifestyle. So it indeed will affect our business. But then when you structure a business also, that's where you now need to spread your risk also, even on the markets. And that's why you cannot just have one end user, or rather one client. You need to spread your portfolio so that if you have a challenge in this store, you're able then to sustainably run your business using another revenue model. For us, we've been able to increase our export portfolio even as we increase the local portfolio, because then there's a time when the exchange rate was very, very bad. But because we had balanced up our business to be able to receive forex, like in the countries that we're exporting, we could cushion now the impact on our Zambian local market. So it's important for, I think, a business to be able to look at those aspects. But then when it comes to teams and going through these challenges, I believe in a model where you're building a business not on a one man, but you're building a business on a scaffolding kind of a way, where you build a business on a team. You're there to give a strategy. You're there to build the team so that even when you're not there, they're able to run. And in the team, then you have different expertise to then be able to then reduce that risk. Of course, the risk is always there. But then what are you doing to reduce the risk here? So I will speak of those. And I think it's important for businesses also to not just put eggs in one basket, but then expand this portfolio so that if something is not working in Zambia, you're then able to have some more forex coming in to sustain a business. Yes.
Okay, and you seem to be a youth yourself.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Having started the business just after school.
Yes.
Are you able to tell us the importance of youth enterprise in economic development?
Yes.
And even more so, are you able to tell us how exactly can youth enterprise be harnessed by the government to actualize the economic potential?
I am very strong on the mindset, the thought process of a youth. That is what I think can then take you to redefine the status quo. It begins with, what is the youth of today thinking? I think the youth for today has to think of long-term investments. And therefore, even as we unlock the potential, it starts from the mind. Because I began Wuchi Wami, it was a small thing. But then I didn't have the small mindset in me. I believe that one day I'll employ 22 people, one day I'll employ 50 people. Today, my staff is over and above 22 people, and I'm a youth. So it is the mindset that we need to then recalibrate, because we have a lot of potential. Youth is not a leader for tomorrow. It's a current leader now. But then we want to procrastinate to tomorrow and find ourselves doing other things. Today, if you start a business, don't focus on making profit in the first day of your business or in the first year of your business. Focus on building sustainable, scaled up, hyper growth businesses. Those are the businesses that then we can say have hope to unlock the economic potential of Zambia. But all this begins from the mindset. Are we microwave kind of like entrepreneurs? Or then we're thinking long term, investing your 5-6 years to then begin to exhibit the results that then can go out there. Everybody is asking, why are you going to speak at the United Nations Environmental Program? Why are you going to FAO? I said, I'm only speaking now because I've been working myself for the last 7 years. And that's when now you hear of Wuchi Wami. This product has been on the market for 6 years. But we're not rushing for results. We're not rushing for the glamour. We were building a culture. We were building a model that even after 6 years, we can go to Spain and brag about a business because we've built a foundation that can take us to unlock potential in Zambia. I bring in Forex, a lot of Forex in the country. Bank of Zambia or anyone knows that Wuchi Wami is bringing in Forex. That is from an entrepreneur, a business led by an entrepreneur. So it just begins with a mindset and the patience to be able to wait, do the right thing every day, wake up every day to put in the best. Yes. So I hope I answered your question here.
Yes, you have actually. So in closing, are you able to tell us about just a few principles that you live by and that have gotten you the results that you need?
I love that. Principles is what makes you or what breaks you. Because even in the Bible, I'm a believer, a strong believer. I believe in the word, and also I believe in planning as well. And therefore, for me, who is a believer, I don't start anything without involving in God. Because the world we live in is either you're going to worship somewhere as a non-believer or you are a believer. For me, I'm a believer. And therefore, when it comes to principles also, I believe in integrity. When you say yes to a client, it has to mean yes. When you say no to a client, meaning that it has to be a no. When you waver around, what you're doing is you are destroying the brand value, because businesses are built on a culture, and the culture is mostly put in by the founders. And therefore, what we put into Wuchi Wami is simply who I am, but then put into a business. So I believe in integrity, consistency, and also being able to ensure that when it's a time to make a hard call, I pick up my phone myself and be able to tell you that we will not deliver to you the 100 today because we face challenges. Give us another 20 days, we will deliver to you. But many entrepreneurs would want to wait for the one who they owe to call them. But for me, I think that's not the way it's supposed to be. So those are issues about integrity, but then can build a business in a noble way and have partners genuinely that can support you. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much for being part of the show. It's been a pleasure having you.
It's been an honor, and I appreciate it, as well, for having me here. We're looking forward to what this can do, and thank you so much for having me here. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank
this
you.
has been Sally Chuma for Financial Insight Zambia. Get to know.